Okay, looks like I've got everything going here. Ah, Clawpaw, you made it. Very cool. I wasn't sure if anyone was going to be here, and I know you said times had switched for you, so that's cool. Thanks for stopping by. Let me just see. I gotta make just a couple adjustments real quick. And let's see here. Let me go to my screen. All right. Looks like it's you and me, Clawpaw, for the time being. I don't see anyone else at the moment waiting, unless my analytics or whatever is going on is correct. Shall we jump right into this, Clawpaw, or do you have any other suggestions? I can get right into the vampire, the night hag, and all that. Oop, drop my phone. Oh, come on, phone. Let's see here. Come on. All right. My phone is not working with me. Cozy, yeah. Come on. Why is this being difficult? Reload that page on my phone real quick. Okay. Let's see here. Vampire. I don't recall what page they're on. Let me look that up real quick. How you doing this morning over there? It's now officially Halloween for you, right? Oh, my cat. One moment. Cat wants to be let in. Come on. There we go. Go get some food. All right, let's see here. Vampire. Wow, that didn't do what I was hoping it would do. Okay, search. Oh, there we go. Okay. 297 in the monster manual. All right. Yes, the way my house is set up, it's very unique. I think it's like a Dutch colonial, my house. And there's a lot of odd angles and protruding rooms and whatnot, which is cool. I love it. Love the way this house is set up. It looks fantastic. And my one cat, wrong thing here. My one cat, who's pretty much the only one that is allowed in and out now, jumps up onto this protruding like plant window, and then jumps up onto the roof, and then comes over to our bedroom window and wants to be let in. Well, sometimes he also sits on top of this plant window thing that sits outside the wall and just stares inside until someone lets him in. It's really funny. All right, monster manual. Little out of sorts at the moment. Let's see here. All right, monster manual. Let's throw that off to the side. And 298 for the vampire. All right, get rid of that. Oh, right. So this is going to be very similar to Strahd, it seems. 3 a.m. after all, but not for you yet. No, right now it's 10 o'clock over here in New York. So, still got a couple hours before midnight. I think I'm, yeah, now I'm, what, 5 hours behind? Or, yeah, 5 hours behind you? We'll be hitting up the daylight savings pretty soon. So, like I said, I think it's sometime in next month that we switch over. We only get it for a couple months, which is fine by me. All right, anyways, let's jump into the vampire here. We've got it set up, and let's see what we have. So we have 16 AC, and we have 17 D8 hit dice with 18 strength, dexterity, constitution, 17 intellect, 15 wisdom, and 18 charisma. On top of that, the vampire should also be a CR 13, which is only a couple CRs. What? Not Vlad. Strahd was CR 15, I believe. Okay. now that we're done with the skills section, let's go into the basics. Sorry, the basic area, the basic stats. Let's go into the skills section here. And we see that we have 3 saving throws for the vampire. And with that, we will get a +2 effective AC bonus here. And then after that, we have a couple skills. And we move down into damage resistances for necrotic. And then bludgeon, piercing, and slashing for non-magical attacks. So let's go ahead and throw the resistances in. And we get an extra 25% to the hit points, bumping our vampire up a little bit. And that's it for the skills area. And then we move down into the monster traits section, which there's plenty of them. So the first thing we have, which we can skip right past, is Shape Changer. Doesn't do anything, but is extremely thematic, which is helpful. After that, we have Legendary Resistances. And we know that will have an effect, so we'll go ahead and add in the 3 uses for that. And giving our vampire extra 90 hit points because of the CR, what is it, over CR 12, I believe it is. I don't remember the exact number. After that, we also have Misty Escape, which lets the vampire just escape once they've been defeated. So we'll skip over that because Misty Escape has no effect as well. But we do have regeneration of 20 hit points at the start of its turn. So the vampire is going to gain an extra 60 hit points over those 3 rounds of combat. As we see here, pushing our DCR even further up into the area. So we have our regeneration taken care of. We now move into Spider Climb. Spider Climb has no effect, so we'll skip by that. And then we also have Vampire Weakness, which is like Sunlight Sensitivity, but better. Well, for players anyways. And because it's very similar to Sunlight Sensitivity, we're just going to skip over this because there's going to be no real effect to it either as well. At least for the CR. As I can see here, the vampire takes 20 acid damage by being under running water. That just helps the players out and isn't going to impact the CR because the CR is just how strong our monster is for our players. So our monster traits are actually done nice and quickly, thankfully. So we can move right into the action section now. And let's see here. What do we have for a plus to hit? We have +9s. So I'll go ahead and throw that into the offensive section here. And then we have a multi-attack in vampire form only. And then we have some bites, a charm, and Children of the Night. And let's get into this here. So we have Unarmed Strike, and we'll throw that into the first slot here in our monster attacks. For a 1d8, so we got 1, we got a d8 here, and a +4 modifier coming from Strength or Dexterity. Doesn't really matter, probably Dexterity, but, or more than likely Strength, who knows, doesn't really matter. Clawpaw, I mean, where would you find flowing water in a vampire castle? Precisely. It's not like there's indoor plumbing, unless it's magically put there somehow. So having running water is going to be an interesting way of getting, unless the vampire's in a cave system or maybe in the sewers. I don't know. I know the, the Nosferatu style vampires in movies anyways, pretty notorious for being in sewer systems, which seems counterintuitive here. Back to our actions, we now move down from... Oh, hold on. Let's see here. Unarmed strikes. We also have... let's see here. Instead of dealing damage, the vampire can grapple the target as well. So we can either do 8.5 points of damage, or we can grapple. Keep that in mind. Next, we have Bite, and the... Let's see here. A creature that is grappled by the vampire, incapacitated, or restrained will take 7 piercing damage plus 10 necrotic damage. So for that, we will just say, let's see here, D6, which was fine, +4 for that one. And then for the necrotic damage, that would be 3d6 there. So we have our 7.5 here and the 10.5 for the bite damage. And then there's some extra stuff here. Let's see. The target's hit point maximum is reduced by an amount equal to the necrotic damage taken, and the vampire regains hit points equal to that number. Curious. Okay. I don't remember that being on Strahd's stat block. Curious. A humanoid slain in this way, then is buried in the ground, rises in the night. Next night as a vampire spawn. Okay. After that, we have Charm. Let's see here. The vampire targets one humanoid it can see within 30 feet of it. If the target can see the vampire, the target must succeed on a wisdom save. And this magic or be charmed by the vampire. All right. What is charm as a spell? Let me see. Let me see if I can pull that up. Just a moment. Why did that come up? All right. Let's see here. Charm. Charm person is... What level spell do we have? First level spell. Okay, so that's technically only 10 effective DPR. So for charm, we could say 10 effective DPR there, and then it will get a whole bunch of extra stuff. Which, more than likely... no, I thought maybe there was something that the vampire could charm it and then drain the blood from a bite, but I guess not. And then we also have Children of the Night. The vampire magically calls 2d4 swarms of bats or rats, provided that the sun isn't up. While outdoors, the vampire can also call wolves. So this is another deal where this isn't going to necessarily increase the vampire's CR. This is just going to increase the difficulty of the encounter. Even though swarms of bats and rats should only be, I don't know, tops maybe CR1. And we're fighting a CR13 here, this is just going to be a nuisance or an annoyance to the players. So Children of the Night doesn't help except for distractions and keeping the damage off of the vampire, especially if the vampire needs to escape in the next coming rounds here. So let's go ahead and take a look at our damage here for attack number 1 being the unarmed strike, which can also be a grapple, more than likely would be the case. And then the bite, which would be 18 points of damage there. And then our multi-attack. The vampire makes 2 attacks, only one of which can be a bite attack. Okay, give me a moment. My cat is clawing at the door to come in now. Come on. Hi, Pumpkin. I am a very busy person right now. What would you like? Come on up to the blanket, buddy. Silly cat. Okay. So, let's see here. Definitely would want a bite to occur if possible. So, more than likely, the vampire would probably try to grapple a target on the first round to get that bite in. And that's the only way to get the extra damage here. Well, alright, before we do anything else, let me look at the legendary actions as well before we go any further. And we've got Move. The vampire moves up to its speed without provoking attacks of opportunity. That one is very similar to Aggressive, like the Orc's ability to just move as a bonus action. So, I mean, it's not getting attacks of opportunity because of the move. That's a tricky one. I'm going to say on tops, this is only going to be maybe 10 DPR in total, because Aggressive gives the Orcs +2. And I would say because of the opportunity attacks, we'll probably see, you know, a little bit more than that. So I'm going to go with 10 for legendary action number 1. The second one would be unarmed strikes, and the vampire makes 1 armed strike, so that's pretty straightforward. We can just do 8.5 times 3. And then lastly, we have bite, costs 2 actions. The vampire makes 1 bite. And then on top of that, because we have the bite, if they're grappled something, we can also do another unarmed strike for a total of 26 points of damage there. All right, now to think about the multi-attack here. Obviously, we would want to do... I mean, it's pretty straightforward. It's going to be the same as the legendary action for number 3 here. So it's just a matter of figuring out what happens on round 1, or excuse me, now it's just a matter of figuring out what happens on rounds 1, 2, and 3. So first off, obviously we would want to grapple someone to be able to then bite them, unless we have them incapacitated or restrained some other way. But the grapple comes first. And if we have something grappled, then we can add in +1 effective AC from the constrict ability here. So our vampire's AC goes up for restraining or grappling someone, which doesn't make sense because unless it's a caster or, you know, someone that's specifically built for ranged attacks, having someone right there in melee grappled or constricted doesn't seem to benefit me or benefit the monster by giving it an extra AC. I don't understand how or why that works, but it does. That's what they gave it the rules. So first round would be a grapple, and then it more than likely the grapple would hit because we're going to give the monster the benefit of the doubt here, and then we would go into a bite. Now, I forgot that we're also doing effective damage here because the target's hit point maximum is reduced by an amount equal to the necrotic damage, and then on top of that, the vampire is also regaining hit points equal to that amount. So we have to increase the bite here from... we got to give it, what was it? The pumpkin, man. Knock it off, dude. I'm going to have to kick him out again pretty soon. And what if it's a wizard or warlock sorcerer? If they're grappled, well, if the vampire's grappled something like that, it's probably in the vampire's favor, I would think. Unless the caster pulls off some kind of silliness going on, which I'm sure something could happen. There's too many variables there to kind of think of what would happen one way or the other. So back to the attack number 2 and the bite, because we also have to include the effective damage done by the necrotic. So we're going to add in an extra 10.5 there. So our bite's going to go up even further. And then after that, in theory, the vampire also is regenerating another 10 hit points. So, ooh, okay. That's going to be a lot of regeneration going on here. So let's see. How much more could we possibly get in here? Because we can do a whole lot more damage from a bite and 1 unarmed strike than 3 unarmed strikes. So that would be, let's see here. We could do a bite here and a bite there. So we're getting an extra 20, potentially up to an extra 20 regeneration as well. So our vampire is actually getting 120 hit points in the 3 rounds of combat. Clawpaw, yep, it probably is, but better than some sort of fighter or rogue or so, for sure. Don't want pure melee up, grappled for some silly reason. If you can get the squishier targets, definitely get them. All right, so we're looking at that now. Our vampire has a whole lot more it can do. So rounds 2 and 3 then, let's see here. Oh, actually, hold on, I forgot. We got to include the legendary actions as well. So then we have another bite and another attack here. And then after that, we can then just go into the multi-attack of another straight punch. And wow, okay, so then, yeah, it would be the same thing. So it would be, the multi-attack would be the bite and unarmed strike, and then doing another bite and unarmed strike during legendary actions to get the most damage anyways. So we'll multiply that by 2 and give it to round 3 as well. So to reiterate what's going on here. Round 1, grapple. Then we get a +1 AC for having a target grappled. And then we go into a bite plus an unarmed strike and another bite for legendary actions. Round 2 is just a copy of that. It's going to be, well, not really a copy. Round 2 is going to be a bite, an unarmed strike, another bite, legendary action, and another legendary action, unarmed strike for rounds 2 and 3. So we come up with a full attack or a 3-round average of 71 points of damage. And sure enough, our vampire, just like Strahd, is underrated. I'm pulling up a CR 16 here, as we can see in the chart, with heavy defenses because of all that hit points that can be regenerated, plus the amount of extra damage that's going on. And, wow, look at that. Interesting. So, the vampire has precisely what we need for AC. Let's see here. Yep, effective AC is 19. And because of the saving throws, and the one for grappling, and we would, in theory, think that the grapple would be like that all the time. And then, you know, the 2-hit bonus is right where it needs to be, and we have a tank. It's very surprising. The vampire is more of a tank than anything. Well, I wasn't expecting that, but again, it's from all the regeneration that's really helping boost up the hit points. So we've got a underrated vampire. Not shocking, and it's underrated by, what is that, 3 CR? Yeah, because our CR was expected to be a 13, like we see here, and we have a challenge rating of 16 from the rotation that we found. What happens, let's say we don't go in for the bites, and just for real quick, let's say we just do a whole bunch of unarmed strikes instead of trying to bite. Let's see what happens here, and I'm sure it's going to be terrible. So instead of doing the bite, we just do 2 unarmed strikes here, and then we do a whole bunch of unarmed strikes there. So what do we get after that? So we got that, plus that, and we will just do that 3 times, and we'll also have to reduce the regeneration as well, because we wouldn't be biting and draining blood. So we'll multiply that by 3 there. And we will drop this back down to 20 here. What do we get? Now we have a CR 13 vampire. That is strange. I don't know why they've rated the vampire at its base. Like, this is the base that the vampire can do. If you just have the vampire running around and just punching the players all the time, then we have a CR 13 vampire. But if the vampire goes for the grapple and starts draining and biting, that's when the vampire gets lethal. Very strange. So if you want your vampire to be nice and basic, just have them run around and punch. Kind of boring. All right, Clawpaw, let's see here. Imagine throwing this at your 4 players at level 8. Yeah, that would be pretty terrible, especially if the vampire's running around draining their blood and reducing their hit point maximums and such. That would be pretty bad. But, yeah, if the vampire just runs around and punches them in the face the whole night, could still be kind of deadly, but at least not nearly as lethal. All right, let me take a note here of the vampire. And let's see here. Vampire. Okay. I'll put an A there for that. So the DCR was what? 8? No, let me go back. I want to go back. Oh, please don't tell me I just backed up. Okay. I need to fix that a little bit. There we go. All right, so 20, 11, and 16. 20, 11, 16. Underrated. Quick fix. Just punches. All the punches. And I wanted to add some sort of second phase a la Castlevania style. Oh, hold on. Let's see here. So NPC vampire is even, but smart vampire goes burr. Yes, very true. And I wanted to add some sort of second phase a la Castlevania style. Yeah, that could be curious, giving it like a mythic, like the Lost, or what was it, that Mythic Odysseys of Theros or whatever that book is, having a vampire with a mythic form, so it changes like the, you know, like Dracula at the end of Castlevania 1. That could be curious. All right, let's see here. Vampire was 13. Monster Manual 297. Okay, cool. All right, let's take a look at the Night Hag next. Let me find that real quick. And then we will go on from there. I think I was going to use the Night Hag as a side quest. I think this, or was that the Dusk Hag? I don't remember precisely. Let's see here. Images. Come on. Give me the image. No, it's not giving me the image? Alright, whatever. Oh, yeah. Alright, I think this was the one. No, No, it was Dusk Hag. That's the one I was looking at. All right. Monster Manual, page 178. Cool. 179. There we go, Night Hag. Ooh, yeah. Purple skin. All right, cool. Sly and subversive Night Hags want to see the virtuous turn to villainy. Fun. Another hag there. All right. Ooh, too close, too close. Oh, may you tell us about this side quest? Yeah. My players from my Sunday campaign found a sword imbued with the life force of a elf bard. And I have a side quest set up that if they want to free the bard, then they can go on this quest. And I have it set up with a Dusk Hag, that they have to go and visit a Dusk Hag in this windmill that is like the windmill blades are turning the wrong way. I don't know. I have it loosely written out in my notes. And unfortunately, the players haven't decided to take on this quest of freeing the bard so far, but I'm giving some incentives possibly to do that. But it's a double-edged sword, obviously, because if they free the bard, then they don't have the powers of the sword anymore. But if they keep the bard in the blade itself is evolving and becoming stronger. Like just recently, I gave the player that's wielding this sword the ability to use 1 bardic inspiration per short rest, I think. So the powers of the bard are still coming out, but if they want to free the bard, they'll have to go through this whole quest and then lose a magic sword for the time being. And that's my side quest. Something kind of short, but there's more to it than that. There's some other stuff going on. Sounds epic, but yeah, rest in peace whenever players don't do the side quests. Yeah, pretty true. It's ready to go, but I've given it just enough energy to have it ready in case they ever want to do it. Otherwise, I could use it somewhere else with my other group or something. Anyways, so the Night Hag. Let's add this in here. We have a medium fiend with 17 AC, 15 D8 hit dice, 18 strength, 15 dex, 16 con, intelligence, 14 wisdom, and 16 charisma. On top of that, the Night Hag should be a CR5. And that is it for our Night Hag's basic information here. So let's move down into the skills area. Yeah, it's a cool sword. Turned out to be a rapier because my player is playing a blood hunter, and they wanted a rapier over a short sword. So I was like, yeah, cool. It's a rapier. Cool. I wasn't going to diminish like the abilities or whatever they were trying to do with their player just because initially it was given out as a short sword. I'm like, yeah, it's a rapier. That's fine. All right, so moving into the skills area, we have some skills and a whole bunch of damage resistances of cold fire and the standard stuff from non-magical attacks not made with silvered weapons. Yeah, so we're going to go ahead and throw in the resistances there, and we'll see that we get an extra 50% hit points because of these 5 different types here, and that's it for the skills area. So we can move down into its monster traits, and we have 2 sections. We have innate spellcasting, which gives us Detect Magic, Magic Missile, Plane Shift, Ray of Enfeeblement, and Sleep. And let's see here. Let me look up these spells real quick so I can get an idea of what we're working with for the Night Hag. Ray of Enfeeblement. I don't recall. Let's see. Ray of Enfeeblement does what? Alright, it's a 2nd level spell, and okay, so it drops all their abilities. Doesn't do any actual damage, so Ray of Enfeeblement will be a 12 effective DPR spell if we wanted to use that. It is concentration though, so it could be handy. And we also have Sleep, which is probably the better bet. Let's take a look at Sleep. I'm looking the spells up on the side. let's see here. What do we got for sleep? First level enchantment spell. Can target 2 people. 1 minute duration, no concentration though, but is also a level 1 spell. So that would be roughly 10 effective DPR there. And then we have Magic Missile at level 1 because, or actually CR 5. So the Night Hag's a CR 5, which means Magic Missile, no. It's not a cantrip, excuse me. So it would be base damage there. And base damage is what? 3d4 plus 3. So Magic Missile would be what? 3d4 plus 3? 3d4 plus 3. And we'll just use Constitution since that gives the plus 3. So we're looking at 10.5 damage for the Magic Missiles if we want to use that. Alright. After spellcasting is all taken care of, we have Magic Resistances, which is nice and simple, giving the Night Hag a +2 effective bonus. And that is right there. I'm hovering over it. And then we finally go into the actions of the Night Hag. So we have Claws for +7 to hit. No multi-attack, which is perfectly fine. And let's see here. We're looking at 13 damage, so that is coming from, let's see here, 2d8 plus 4. The strength, so we got 13 there. So it's actually, the claws are better than Magic Missile, surprisingly enough, unless you need that Magic Missile for the ranged, which is at will, right? Yeah, so the Night Hag can just blast away with the Magic Missiles all day long, which is kind of funny. Alright, so we have our claws taken care of. Then we then have, so you mean the Night Hagtations. Yeah, that could be certainly it. We could call it that for sure. After claws, we have Change Shape. That's not going to do anything except, you know, surprise our players. We also have Etherealness. The hag magically enters the ethereal plane, and vice versa. The hag must have a Heartstone in her possession to do so. No effect except to escape, maybe, if the Night Hag is in danger of passing away. And then we have Nightmare Haunting. Let's see, what does this do? While on the ethereal plane, the hag magically touches a sleeping humanoid on the material plane. A protection from evil and good spell cast on the target prevents this contact, as does a magic circle. As long as the contact persists, the target has dreadful visions. If these visions last at least 1 hour, the target gains no benefit from its rest, and its hit point maximum is reduced by 5. If this effect reduces the target's hit point maximum to 0, the target dies. Alright, and then if the target was evil, they trap the soul, and so on and so forth. Okay. Ooh, greater restoration spell or similar magic. Yikes. Let's see here. No, the Night Hagtions. Okay. Let's do that too. Having a hard time breathing. Anyways, so we only have 2 real major attacks here. We have Magic Missile, and we also have the Claws. In theory, some of the other spells could be worthwhile, like Rave Enfeeblement could be helpful, reducing the player's abilities by 12. But since our main attack here is just the 13, we're just going to do Claws all 3 rounds of combat just to see what we get here. And we'll multiply that by 3. And we're looking so far at a CR6 for the Night Hag, just from the Claws alone, which is very surprising. If we were to switch this up, well, let's look at this real quick before we go any further. So at the moment, we're looking at a tank. This Night Hag is a tank. High defenses, which is very surprising. Why is that so high? Oh, no, why is that so high? Oh, right, magic resistance. And then AC 17. Okay. So definitely we got a defensive tank here for the Night Hag, but very low damages. So if you're going to use this Night Hag, you'd probably want it with other hags for the Coven feature, although this Night Hag doesn't benefit from a Coven. Could be helpful in other cases to prevent other of your hags if they are in there trying to do spells and whatnot. So if you have one hag that benefits from a coven, the Night Hag will be the tank for that other hag that can cast a whole bunch of extra spells. But we're getting a rating of CR6 instead of a 5 like they have here. So what could we do to fix this quickly? Let's get rid of magic resistance just for the heck of it. All right, that does nothing. What if we got rid of resistances? That does drop it down. Still becomes a bit of a tank, but if we wanted to get the Night Hag right to the CR5, then we ignore damage resistances. And more than likely, when you're facing off against CR5 hags at this level, your players probably already have stuff to bypass this. So the CR5 may be taking this into account already. Let's see here. So could you use it as a group healer? The Night Hag, I don't think so, because there's really nothing for the Night Hag to cast healing with, unless they had some spell scrolls of ways to heal. You could potentially do that, but unless you switched it up and gave it some other spells to heal, so if you modified the Night Hag to have healing word or actual cure wounds or something, then yeah, you could certainly use this as like a defensive healer for the coven and whatnot. But yeah, if we take into consideration that the players don't have magical weapons or silvered weapons, then we have a CR6 Night Hag. But if your party does have ways to get past the damage resistances, then we have a CR5, and it's even rated at that point. So it really depends whether or not your players are geared up to fight monsters at this level. And I would expect them to be able to do that at that point, because a CR5, you would probably be easily like level 8 or 9 by that point, and hopefully someone's got magical weapons. What's that, Clawpaw? I see you said you switched something around in your head. It's both. It's late for me and early for you. Were you looking? Oh, were you talking about the healing for the Night Hag? Is that what you meant? But anyways, that's our Night Hag. Oh, and also, I have this whole new area here, the critical damage calculator. If you wanted to calculate criticals to be sure what's going on here. So just to kind of go over that while we have a moment here, the Night Hag would be doing the claws as its attack. So if we switch the DPR here from 10 to the 13, we can see that on a crit range of 20 and 2 times the dice, we're only going to be adding in 1 more point of damage. So if we do that and we add in the 1 more point of damage, so we'll do G4 plus 1 times 3. We're going to see that we're not shifting the damage at all. And the reason why this is only 1 point of damage here is because that's 5% of the total damage of the 13 here. And the 5% is obviously how often you would crit. So in theory, you're only going to crit 1 out of every 20 rolls of the D20, in theory. So every time you roll a die and you don't get a crit, technically you're adding +1 to the damage until you actually finally do crit. And if you crit early, then you shouldn't be critting again for another 20 rounds or so or more, based off of whatever you had left over. So that's why we would only add in 1 point of damage every round of combat here. So we get an extra 3 points of damage for the crit, and we don't have any modifications to the OCR 3 for our Night Hag. Oh yeah, no problem. It's like you said, it's early for you, late for me. I'm already starting to feel sleepy, but I got plenty in me to go another 20 minutes to finish off the live stream. So that is the that's the critical damage calculator. Oh, excuse me again. That is the that is the critical damage calculator in a nutshell, and why we're only getting 1 point of extra DPR for a crit. Like I said before. Okay. So we're looking at a 9, a 3, and a 6 for that. Night Hag. Let's see here. The Green Hag. Just saw that go by. Night Hag. Okay. 9, 3, 6. Underrated. Quick fix. Ignore. Damage resistance. To get CR5. Okay. Alright, so let's see here. Clawpaw said, but nice, creamy to learn new stuff about the calculation table 2.0. Yes, I had another idea of adding this in after watching the YouTuber Trient Monk's Temple. I was watching that guy as well as Pack Tactics. Those are two people I've been watching a lot of lately, especially Pack Tactics. That guy's been pretty cool. I've been learning a lot of how to play my new character on my Tuesday night games and how to really get the most out of it. And then after watching Trent Monk's Temple and how he adds in 5% of the critical damage to the attacks, which are even more modified than what I'm doing here, I was like, okay, I need to add this in for the table and, you know, see what happens there. So it's now gone from version 2.0 to version 2.1. All right, let's see. Yeah, they're cool. I like their channels. Trient Monk is really heavy analytical, all the math, and I enjoy that. And I've been watching and going over his stuff there to kind of get up to speed with what he's talking about. And then Pack Tactics has been fun. His channel's been pretty cool. I've enjoyed watching his stuff a lot. Especially the one about spell scrolls. Oh man, I didn't realize how valuable spell scrolls could be. Especially with having proficiency in Arcana there. Woo! If you haven't checked out that one, I highly recommend it. That was page 178 for that. And then we got the Hollow. Oh, why is the Hollow not showing up? Where is the Hollow found? Nope. Am I spelling it wrong? Crud. They are in the Explorer's Guide to Wildmount. Let's see here. I've looked at them once before, but I will go over them again, just for the heck of it. It's always good to go back over that stuff. Let's see here. Explorer. E. That's what I'm looking for. Okay. Polly, hello. I've got to get on Trient Monk. I really binged a lot of Pack Tactics recently. Also, hello. Yes, hello, Polly. Welcome to the live stream. I am just struggling to figure out where the Hollow creature is. Trying to remember because my side resource wasn't loading up properly. All right, let's zoom in a bit and find the Hollow if I can. All right, let's see here. A Hollow one. 181? Yeah, that's got to be it. So let's see here, 182. Nope, that's not it. I could have sworn they were part of the Explorer's Guide to Wildmount. Unless it's Mordenkainen's. It must be that then. Oh man, Where are these? Oh, I think I know what I'm confusing. Explorer's Guide. Okay. Explorer's Guide is all of the those crazy ones here. Come on, work with me here. Giants, Fey, great. Monstrosities, what are they? The hollow, are they aberrations or... Oh, there we go. Oh. The hollow. You mean like husk zombies? Yeah, Clawpaw, you submitted the third one there. You were saying the hollow. I was getting it confused. I thought it was part of this group here. The angry, hungry, lonely, lost. Is that, yeah. Thank you, Polly. Yeah, that's what I was coming across as well. The hollow one here. But that's not the right one. Let's see here. Maybe it's a homebrew. Hollow Compendium? Hollow 1 5e Guide. The Grim Hollow. Hollow Man 5th Edition SRD. Oh, you wanted the Hungry. Okay. Maybe I haven't looked at the Hungry. I know I've gone over a couple of them, but not all of them. Alright, let's look at the Hungry 232. Oh, yeah. Okay, I've looked at the Hungry before, but we will go over it once again just for the heck of it. It's always good to, what is it? It's measure once, cut twice, right? They say it with the carpenters. All right, we'll clear out my tool and we'll take a look at the Hungry here. And I will update that. All right, and they're what? An 11. And that's Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes. 232. Okay. All right. Let's see here. That's one of them Shadowfill things, isn't it? Probably. I believe so, yeah. Polly. So you want me to go over this here, Clawpaw? I'm reading your last comment there. You want the hollow or the Hungry, right? Okay, let's see here. Well, I've got it set up. I could always go to the other monster up above because I haven't done that one. Because I have done the Hungry, but we'll just go over it again for the heck of it. Yes, okay, cool, thank you. All right, so the Hungry, let's see here. 17 AC, medium monstrosity with 30 D8 hit dice. 19 strength, 10 dex, 17 con, 6 intelligence, 11 wisdom, and 6 charisma. And then after that, we've completed the base information for the Hungry. So let's take a look at its skills area, and we only have damage resistances to the common 3, while the monster's in dim light or darkness. So this one we can keep on, because, you know, our monster, as long as it's in the dim light or darkness, it's going to resist damage, which is really fascinating. And our monster should be CR 11. So that's going to change it to only getting an extra 25% hit points, which is strange because, well, no, this is interesting. They should be getting double hit points because the condition is dim light or darkness. It's not like you can, well, you could counteract that with spells. Never mind me. I'm being silly. Okay. Skills area is done. Let's move into the monster traits, and we have Life Hungerer. If a creature the Hungry can see regains hit points, the Hungry gains 2 benefits until the end of the next turn. It has advantage on attack rolls, and its bite deals an extra 22 necrotic damage on a hit. So, how do we deal with this? More than likely, players are going to be healing during combat. Polly, let's see here. That's a really weird and cool damage resistance condition. It is. You don't see too many of them with this kind of condition, which is nice. I've got to use that somewhere, for sure. Definitely highly recommend modifying monsters like this to really throw your players off. Even if the monster normally would be like, oh, what werewolf, and all of a sudden it has dim light darkness damage resistance. It's like, oh, this is a different werewolf. So back to the Life Hungerer. They get advantage on attack rolls if the party's healing, and they're getting an extra 22 necrotic damage. I would expect that to happen once during combat against the Hungry. After that, the players are going to catch on real quick, and they're not going to get the bonus anymore. So for the time being, I'm going to suggest it gets it once. After that, we can take a look to see if we are at or above or where the CR comes from. So we'll come back to Life Hunger in a minute, and we'll go into the action section here. We have a multi-attack, but we also have a +8 to hit, so let's add that into the attack bonus section. And then we have a bite, let's see here, with 1d8 +4, and that's from strength. And we also have 13 necrotic damage of 3d8. So there's our 13.5. And then also we have claws. Let's see here. If the target's medium or smaller, it's grappled and restrained until the grapple ends. While grappling, the Hungry can't attack with its claws. Okay. So the question is, one with its bite and one with its claws. The question is the Hungry using both hands to grapple and claw on, or is it using one? Because the theory is then we're getting either 1 or 2 effective AC from grappling a creature here. Let's go with 1 for now and see what happens. So we have a grapple. We'll throw that in with the constrict. That's going to grapple the target from apart or along with the bite here. And we have 4d6 +4 for the bite attack. And we have 18 damage there. All right. The multi-attack is, let's see here, 1 bite and 1 with its claws. So we're going to simply do, actually here, let me do this instead, hold up. So attack number 1 is 8.5 + 13. And attack number 2 is the 18. And then our multi-attack is both of these. So a couple steps here, but we've got a full attack of 40 per round. And we also have it grappled. Now, the thing here is that the Hungry can't attack with its claws again while a creature's grappled. So you only keep the creature grappled for 1 turn, you let go of the grapple, and then you re-attack with the claws to keep this attack going. So you don't have to really worry about that too much, thankfully. So if we go here and let's do our round, excuse me. Oh man. If we go into our rounds of combat, and we just do basic attacks without any kind of life hunger going on, we'll have 40 times 3 for the 3 rounds of combat, so I don't have to fill in the other 2. And right now we're at a CR 11. So at base, if none of the players are casting healing spells, we have a CR 11 Hungry. What happens if the players do? Well, let's go ahead and add in +1 attack bonus for having advantage for that whole round of combat. Yeah, until the end of its next turn. Okay, so we'll give it Pack Tactics for that +1 attack bonus. And then on top of that, we will... Uh-oh. Okay, my stream just buggered up for a minute. I thought I lost everyone. Let's just throw in the extra... What was it? 22 necrotic damage from Life Hungry for 1 round of combat. Well, as you see here in the chart, the green area has dropped down from an 11 to a 12, and you can verify that up here in the upper left corner as well. The Hungry is a defensive, or excuse me, it's not defensive, but it's just a standard tank. But as the players are casting more and more healing, then they are going to have a very angry Hungry that's doing more and more damage. Unless they heal all in 1 round, then they can kind of get by it, and then after that, the hunger will go back down to a CR 11. So at base, if you don't use any healing spells, the Hungry is even rated, but the more you cast the healing spells, the more the Hungry is going to be dangerous and doing so much more damage, which is absurd with what we can see here. Thank you, Clawpaw, for verifying you're still there. All right. So that's the Hungry. Good to go over that again, just to double check things. We got a couple minutes here. I haven't looked at, let's see here, the Angry. Shall we look at the angry? Because this is one we haven't looked at, and I could throw that in for a shorts and whatnot. Oh, good. Thank you, Polly, for verifying. You guys, you both good with the hunger or the angry to follow up and finish off the live stream with? My level 7 arcane knight, 1 level blood cleric probably already is crying. Oh, I'm sure. All that healing has to wait until afterwards. Unless someone has a recommendation for something else, let's take a look at the angry, since we're right here. All right, let's see. So we have 18 AC for our medium monstrosity with 30 d8 hit dice again. We have 17 strength, 10 dex, 19 constitution, 8 intelligence, 13 whiz, and 6 charisma for all those bonuses. And then after that, we are expecting the angry to be a CR 13. So that's our basic information out of the way. We move down into the skills area, and we have the same thing for the angry with that dim light and darkness resistances. So we'll go ahead and pop that in. And then after that, we'll move into the monster traits section, and we have 2 heads. The angry has advantage on wisdom perception checks and on saving throws against being blinded, charmed, deafened, frightened, stunned, and knocked prone, or knocked unconscious. Awesome story, no effect on the monster, because conditions like this don't add or subtract anything. So we can skip over that and move into Rising Anger. If another creature deals damage to the angry's attack rolls have advantage until the end of its next turn. And the first time it hits with a hooked attack on its next turn, the attack's target takes an extra 19 psychic damage. On its turn, the angry has disadvantage on attack rolls if no other creature has dealt damage to it since the end of its last turn. Interesting. So it gets like a weird reckless attack going on here. So if you want to be a real jerk of a DM, you could just have, you know, whatever's going along with the angry, smack the angry, deal it some damage, and then it just goes into overdrive. And just starts doing all this crazy amount of damage. So let's hold off on the Rising Anger for a moment and come into the action section, and we'll add that in. So we have a multi-attack here of 2 hooks, and we also have hooks. So the hooks are dealing 2 hit of +8, and then the damage from the hooks itself is going to be 2d12 and +3 coming from its strength. So we have 16 points of damage there, and we have a multi-attack. So let's see here. We'll just simply do this, multiply this by 2, giving us 32 points of damage. And then we will do that for all 3 rounds of combat if the angry hasn't been provoked into Rising Anger yet. Yeah, Clawpaw, exactly. If players can do it to the barbarians, you as a DM can do it to the monsters with the angry. I don't want to hear any complaints from players. Alright, so round 1, 2, and 3, base, if the angry hasn't been hit, will be just 2 hook attacks. And we'll multiply that times 3, and we have a CR 11. So right now, we're overrated at the moment, which means the developers were expecting the angry to be hit at least once. So let's say what happens if we get hit once. We'll throw in Pack Tactics for +1 attack bonus, which already shifted the CR a little bit to a CR 12. And then we're also going to add in an extra, let's see here, the attack, each attack, right? The first time it's hit with a hook attack on its next turn. Okay, so the first time, wait, yeah, so it's next turn. So yeah, it would just go right into doing all this extra damage. All right, so the multi-attack would be then this plus an extra 19. Yeah, 19 times 2, because every round of combat would be getting 2 times 2. I think I did something wrong, because all of a sudden we have a CR 17. That's not right. That can't be right. All right, let me backtrack a little bit here. Oh, I see what I did wrong. Yeah, no. Okay. So it should be 19 here, then times 2. Okay. Yeah, especially Clawpaw, don't forget to heal it up constantly. Polly, even more evil DM things. Pair it with a creature that has a low damage aura, so the angry is always taking the tiny amount of damage it needs to no action economy cost. Oh, perfect. Thank you, Polly. That's even better. Oh, man. There you go. Yeah, keep it with like something, with like a fire aura, so it's always within that aura taking damage. Oh, man. All right, so if the angry at least takes 1 round of damage... No. All right, hold up. This is calculating if the monster is getting this all the time. And if that's the case, and our monster is getting this rising anger every round of combat and not getting, steamed out, like on the second paragraph here, we're going to give it Blood Frenzy. Because Blood Frenzy is for every round of combat always having advantage. We now have a CR 15. So if the angry has the rising anger every round and is dealing that extra 19 points of damage with the hook attack on all the attacks, we have a CR 15 monster here. Still somehow a tank. How is this still a tank? What is going on here? Why is this still a tank? This should be a striker. This should be dealing a lot of damage, but the blue zone is our DCR. This is telling me this darn monster is a tank. What is going on here? That is an Avengers level threat. For sure. 2 CRs over. Yikes. So, let's see here. If we only get it once, let's say if we only do it once, just for the heck of it. Let's go back to +1 attack bonus. Pack tactics for the +1 attack bonus, and we'll just throw in 19 here for that. Yeah, wow, we're still not there. So let's multiply this times 2. 19 times... Oh, no. Yeah, that would be... I'm sorry. Here we go. Wow. Ooh, okay. So we would probably need Rising Anger at least 2 rounds of combat. So we'll multiply that by 4. And it goes over again. There's no way to make this happy. This monster is just a conundrum. Keep it angry the whole time and make it a CR 15. I am raging hard. There's some things that just get me upset, and this is one of these. It's like, what is going on? Why? All right. So if you're gonna make the angry, keep it angry the whole time. Just make it a CR 15. This is absurd. All right. Let me take my notes, and we'll close this out because this monster is annoying. All right, let me fix that real quick. Let's see here. I gotta go back to... yeah, there we go. Perfect. All right, so we're gonna say 17, 13, and 15 for that. And the angry. 17, 13, 15. Underrated. Quick fix. Sure. Quick fix it up. I don't know what I'm going to do about that. Yeah, just don't turn into the angry. I never get that far. Well, sometimes. Very rarely. I mean, like a fraction of a percent. Sometimes I get really angry. But it's far and few in between. Okay. So that has been the angry as well as the hungry. And this has been... let's see here. This has been Exposing D&D 5e CR Monsters with me, Andrew. You guys have been awesome. Polly, thanks for joining. I appreciate hanging out with me and Clawpaw here. Clawpaw, thanks for joining again, even with your time shift over there, where you're over in Europe somewhere, or wherever you're located. Thanks both of you for joining, and anyone else that watches this video later on. You've been awesome, and this is me, Andrew, asking, are your encounters even rated? Have a good night, everyone. If you want to chat for a little bit longer, I will be on here as I close some things out. But this is a live stream. Thank you. It's been fun. Let's see here. Okay, that was pretty cool. Any big plans for Halloween? Let's see here. Halloween. Yes, my wife and I are going out trick-or-treating with our stepdaughter. She's 13 and she's hanging out with some of her friends, and they're getting into like a big group, and they're going to walk around town and go trick-or-treating. So that's fun. I love Halloween. It's my favorite holiday, so I'm looking forward to doing that tomorrow night. Polly says, hope to hang around more in the future. So far, we are doing these live streams every Saturday from 10 to 11 Eastern Standard Time. And if I can't make a Saturday, I will switch it to Mondays, which was my old time, from 6 to 7 Eastern Standard Time. But I will let everyone know if I can't do a Saturday for some reason. Let's see here. Oh, Germany. Okay. It's 3 to 4 a.m. right now. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's fun. It's interesting. Cornucopia is also, I believe, over in Germany somewhere. Yes, me being wholesome. It happens on occasion. I can't look at numbers all day long and crunch them. What about the rest of you two? What do you got going on for Halloween? Anything fun? Let's see how to close out the music. Oh, goodness. Oh, pardon the yawn. Oh, boy. Okay, I can close my laptop out at least while we finish this all up. Let's see here, shut that down. Oh, yeah, they definitely do, Clawpaw. It's just a matter of getting that prep time together so you can actually get them together. Polly says, originally I was planning on running Death House in a Strad costume, but that has to be pushed back. So right now, it'll probably come down to some games with friends and movies with boyfriend. Cool. That sounds awesome, Polly. Hopefully that all works out the way you planned on it. Clawpaw. And yeah, probably going to check out a friend's party, you know, like the young people. Oh, yeah. I used to throw some, I don't want to say ragers, but I used to throw some really fun, awesome Halloween parties with my brother and our friends. We would get all, I would spend like, there was a good like 3 to 5 years where I was spending $300 to $400 on Halloween decorations just to, you know, load out my house and whatnot. Yeah, back to Polly there with the Strahd costume. I could see that being a lot. It could be intense. Let's see here. Yeah, prep time, organizing, for sure. That is definitely scary. All right, everyone. Thank you. I'm going to call it a night here. I got to get to bed. I have to get up early at some point and do adult things, so... oh yeah, the parties were fun. We would have, what was it like? We would have rock band going, and I would do some bartending while making sure everyone was having a good time and load up the house with like smoke machines and whatnot. It was fun. I did my best to make it as fun and crazy as possible without going too terribly crazy. But anyways, thanks everyone. I'm going to head on out. Clawpaw and Polly, have a great night. Enjoy your Halloween. Happy Halloween to anyone else that watches this later on, and I will see you next time. Good night, everyone.